Welcome to another episode of ACC Basics. Today we're gonna talk about the mental art of keeping your cool. And before we start, I want to thank these people of the Sim Racing subreddit for helping me compile this list of tips and strategies for keeping it cool. Imagine driving close to another driver at 240 kilometers an hour. Not hitting each other, staying on track, having to hit your braking markers, having a close eye on the apexes and planning out your defenses for the next couple of corners. Things like that can be quite stressful. You might make some mistakes because of the pressure, or because you're overthinking everything. Well, I think we all make these mistakes in situations like that from time to time. I know I do. Let's talk about some ways we might minimize the stress and pressure building up inside of us when we are racing. The first strategy we'll call exposure therapy. Race as much as possible. Look for battles and try to stay in those battles for as long as possible. Most people get anxious when they're racing close for an extended period of time. One proven way to get over the unsettling feeling is just to do it. So by putting yourself in close racing situations, you'll get used to it, and you'll see that it's not such a big deal. It's a game after all. When you are experienced with racing close to others, you won't get as bothered by it. Over time, you'll know what to do instinctively, and this will also make you a more confident driver. You can practice exposure therapy by starting out racing against AI. They're very predictable, which makes it easier to stay close to them. This provides an excellent opportunity to get used to racing close and still staying focused on following the racing line, hitting the braking markers, and things like that. What the AI doesn't provide is the unpredictability of human drivers. So I suggest to only use practice against the AI as some way to learn racing close without contact and still hit your markers and all that stuff. Think of it like some practice mode plus kind of thing. When you're comfortable driving close with the AI and you're still hitting all your markers, you're following the racing line, you can step things up a little bit and jump into online races. And try to go into races with a mindset that you're there to practice and not to win them. And that brings me to my next strategy already, changing your mindset. Sometimes the stress you're experiencing is caused by the way you look at things. Maybe you're stressed out because you take the race very seriously. You're pressuring yourself not to make any mistakes. And most of the times, that's just it. All the pressure you feel is the pressure you put on yourself. Changing your mindset can be hard, especially mid-race. But here's a few different perspectives you can try out. Maybe they'll work for you, but no guarantees. The first one is to go into a race and try to race as clean and close as possible. Don't worry about winning. Stay out of trouble. Try to follow other drivers as close as possible, but without crashing into them. You might be surprised by the results. People often feel pressured when someone is driving close to them for an extended period of time. So you might be able to take advantage of their mistakes without even having to attack. You can also go into a race as if it were an online practice race. Instead of going into races to win them, try to find situations in which you can learn something. You might feel less pressured if you allow yourself to make mistakes and try to learn from them. Look at mistakes as learning opportunities instead of making mistakes some sort of failure state. Another thing I learned when I was practicing public speaking was that nervousness and excitement feel very much alike. And whenever I got up on stage to talk in front of a bunch of people I've never seen before, I always thought to myself that the nervousness was just a sign that something cool was gonna happen. Changing that nervousness into excitement. And it worked for me, so maybe it'll work for you. Try it out. Changing your mindset can be very hard, and these techniques don't work for everyone. So don't feel bad if they don't work for you. It's all very personal. The last tip I've got is something everyone can do, but again, I don't know if it will work for you. It will work for some people and not for others. Typically, when you're stressed, you tend to cramp up. Your shoulders are raised and stiff, your hands, they're gripping the wheel very tightly. This is the physical manifestation of stress. It's also a vicious cycle. When you get stressed, you cramp up. Because you're cramped up, you get stressed, resulting in more cramping up because your brain thinks you're stressed. So it goes in circles like that. You have to break this cycle. So try breathing deeply. Breathe with your belly. Try to loosen the grip on the wheel. Wiggle those stubby little fingers. Let your shoulders down a bit and loosen up your neck. Try to let go of that physical stress you're experiencing, and maybe you'll feel less stressed in your head as well. And that's all the tips and strategies I've got on keeping your cool and being stressed and working through it. I bet some of you guys have more ways to deal with the stress. Let us know in the comments down below, because we all want to learn here. And hopefully you guys liked the video. Subscribe for more sim racing fun, and I hope to see all of you beautiful baby boys and baby girls in my next video. Be kind, stay safe out there. Mwah. I love you.